Alright, this is so fun. Filming is so awkward. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be doing a little paint and sip while I tell you guys facts about myself. I meant to film this video as my first video, but I ended up doing like a couple get ready with me type videos, but this time I want to do a more like face-to-face conversational type. And to keep it kind of entertaining, I'm just gonna be painting while I do it. I'm gonna take a sip. So whenever I start off my paintings, I try to do like a little quick sketch, and then I will pick out and mix my paint colors, and then we'll just get to it. All right, so I can't really paint anything other than faces, and I think the reason why faces are so easy for me to paint is because I do makeup. I went to esthetician school, and I also just have a lot of years of experience worth of doing my own makeup. So I feel like when it comes to actually painting and learning dimensions and highlighting and shading and stuff like that, it's quite literally like doing someone's makeup on a canvas. I'm not gonna do anything too intricate. I just like to like get the proportions out of the way. All right, so I guess I should be talking while I'm doing this, huh? The first thing about me is, well, first of all, I don't even think I told y'all my name. For those of y'all that don't know me, my name is Dejine. That's pronounced Dejine, not Degine or Dagan or Dejine. There's no duh. I am 28 years old. I remember turning 18 so vividly and thinking that turning 18 was gonna be the answer to all my problems. And if some poor 17-year-old is out there thinking that turning 18 will solve all of their problems, I am here to tell you that it won't. For me, it honestly doesn't even feel like that much time has passed. Like, I definitely don't feel like I'm about to turn 30 years old in a year and a half, but I feel like I've been through enough life that it feels good to finally have made it to this age. So that I can definitely say. Honestly, I don't really have that many like interesting facts about me. I have a lot of like trauma, but as far as like interesting facts, not really. I'm kind of a boring person, but I am a creative person, so I feel like it kind of cancels it out just a little bit. Well, I've been doing photography since I was a teenager. Well, if you want to be technical, I have been taking pictures since I was a little kid. I remember one of the first times I ever had like my own disposable camera was when I went on a field trip in elementary school to the zoo somewhere in Georgia. And you could tell even as a kid like how interested I was in making sure I got a cool shot or a good picture. So my photography career goes back to adolescence, if you want to be technical. I've only been taking pictures as a photographer for maybe 6 years or so. But when people ask me, I always tell them I have about 10 years worth of experience. As experienced as I feel like I am in photography, I am not very technical. So if you were to ask me like technical terms and specific names for things, I honestly probably wouldn't know it. But if you ask me to try to achieve a certain look in the photo shoot, I can execute it absolutely no problem. And I think out of all of the things that I do, photography is probably the one thing that I'm confident about. I know I'm pretty good on the sewing machine as well, but the thing with sewing is that if you don't have an actual passion for designing clothing, you can only have so much fun sewing. When I first started my brand, I was like calling myself a designer simply because I had started a brand, but then I started to learn. I had more of an interest in like actually putting the garments together than I did sitting there trying to come up with new designs. So I eventually stopped calling myself a designer and started calling myself a seamstress. And I actually still call myself a seamstress to this day. I feel so corny shooting this. What should I pretend like this is? Heineken. So as I just mentioned, I did actually have a clothing brand. I'm actually wearing one of my sweatshirts right now. I guess we'll call it a streetwear brand. I used to have a streetwear brand called Blue Villain, and I started my brand in 2018. I was so fucking broke that honestly, making clothes was almost like a last resort option for me. I was like, if I don't figure something out in like the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna be homeless. I remember using like my last 200 bucks I had at the time and buying a sewing machine. And surprisingly, as soon as I started posting the stuff that I was making, I had people messaging me like, yo, can I buy that? Like, yo, do you have a website? And I was like, what? Huh? It kind of freaked me out how much traction it gained so quickly because I wasn't expecting it at all. I expected to just be able to like maybe make a custom shirt for somebody or like tailor a dress or something and be able to make a couple $100 to cover the rest of my rent for the month. And I ended up making like my rent for the month, which is so cool to think back on. My brand now isn't really active at all. I haven't dropped anything in over a year, so we're gonna consider her dissolved. But I did try to take it as seriously as I could while I was doing it. I even went out and got my own LLC. I did pop-ups. I did a fashion show at the Art Institute of Tampa, and I wasn't even a student there. Just because it didn't go where I wanted it to doesn't mean that I consider it like a failure or a disappointment. I've brushed shoulders with people that I never thought I would even be able to fucking meet simply because I did start my brand. So I'm very thankful that I did, and it doesn't like bother me to think about the fact that I'm not like in stores or, you know, I don't have 25K followers on Instagram. It doesn't bother me at all. I loved it for the experience. Oh fuck, I gotta return that damn textbook. I'm like putting the paint away and I'm like, what is this wrapped up fucking book? This textbook, by the way, is from 2 semesters ago. 2 semesters ago. I guess that could be the next fact about me. I am a student. So right now I take most of my classes, not most of them, all of them. I take all of my classes online just because it's easier for me. I am a hospitality management student. I actually originally started my hospitality degree back in like 2017, but I ended up having to drop out for financial reasons. I decided to go back after I had my son, and I'm actually set to graduate, not the end of next semester, but the next one. So at the end of fall, I'm supposed to graduate. I definitely thought that by this age, I was gonna be a lot farther in life, but I think with the cards that I was dealt and the situations that I've been in, even me being here is a testimony in and of itself, so I'm not mad. Like, sometimes I feel like, oh, you know, did I start too late? Is it worth it to do it at this age? And then I remember that like a lot of people in this career path, especially hospitality, don't get really started with their careers until they're in their 30s, 40s, sometimes 50s. So I'm just taking it one day at a time. I love being artistic, I love being creative, but I'm also a very realistic person. And especially now that I'm a mom, I realized that I need to have something a little bit more solid than selling t-shirts on Instagram. And I love hospitality. I love making people happy. I love just like always feeling like it's a special occasion. Just, I don't know, I love it. All right, so this is what I have so far. I do have a baby. He's a boy. My son is only about 1.5 years old, but I feel like it low-key still hasn't hit me yet that I'm actually somebody's fucking mother. Whenever I'm like filling out paperwork for him or something, it still kind of messes my head up that whenever I see the line that says parent or guardian, I'm not writing my mom's name, I'm writing my name. It's just the little things like that that I'm still getting used to this day. What's the next fact? I don't really talk about this a lot to people because I feel like it's not a goal that a lot of people have, but one of the goals I've always had is to become a polyglot. And even though I'm not 100% fluent in any of the languages that I speak, not even English, I still know enough in each language to be able to like hold a conversation, you know? I guess I should speak some, right? So that people think I'm not bullshitting. Yo hablo un poquito español, pero yo no sé todas las palabras, so necesitas hablar muy despacio conmigo, por favor. Moi parle un petit créole. Moi pas connais tout le monde créole, so créole mais pas mon nom. I think I'm gonna try to catch up on the painting a little bit more before I continue with the next fact. This is what we have so far. I added a little bit of black to the outside to create kind of a shadow, and then I put a little bit more highlight on the cheekbones. It'll turn into something, trust me. Self-portrait.
Bruh.
This shit looks crazy. Back during the pandemic, I ended up getting caught in what I'll call the dancer wave. That's basically after the pandemic when the clubs filled up with a whole bunch of girls who had never actually danced before because nothing else was fucking open and we were all scared and didn't know if the world was fucking ending, so we all just strapped on our pleasers and got on that fucking pole. I feel like when I talk about it, I'm reenacting a fever dream or something. But I was really good on the pole actually, and I ended up getting like really buff at one point because I used to dance like every single day, all day, and I would be like on the pole doing like flips and climbing to the fucking ceiling, bitch. Like I think back on that and I literally cannot believe I was doing that shit. I don't know who I thought I was. I don't know where that confidence came from. I honestly don't know, but that was a very interesting experience. And it also helped me get over my stigma towards dancers, because I'm not even gonna lie to you. Before I dove into that realm myself, I was one of those people that was like really judgmental towards dancers. The majority of the girls that are in there are just regular fucking people, just maybe struggling a little bit to get back on their feet. You know, a lot of the girls in there have kids and they only go like maybe once a month or so, or only every weekend, so that they can save up money for their kid. And I honestly think that's very valid. A lot of people have so much stigma towards the industry, but I think what people don't understand is the industry is alive because people keep it alive. The reason why there's a supply is because there's a demand. So remember that. But I mentioned that because that's actually how I gained as many followers as I have on TikTok. I started off by just doing like get ready with me type lives in the locker room. I went from 1,000 followers to like 3,000 followers. I started making videos like a little bit more consistently, and I started going live a little bit more consistently as well. And then within like 2 weeks time, I went from having 3,000 followers to having almost 15,000. And that's kind of where I'm at now. My follower count fluctuates between like 14.9 and like 15.1. I'm not really super big into like follower count anyway. I care more about like the quality of the people that follow you. And that's why I try to at least keep up with my social media presence as much as I can. For the people that actually do pay attention to me for me and are looking for content for me, I try to keep up with that as much as possible. I gotta fix the nose somehow. Let's see what I can do. You can see that? I don't necessarily have a set goal when it comes to YouTube. I kind of just wanted to be able to make content that didn't feel like I was always trying to stick to a trend in order to gain traction. And that's exactly how TikTok feels. TikTok feels like if you don't hop on a trend the same day that it starts, you're just never gonna gain followers, you're never gonna gain views. And I hate feeling like that. I hate how making content starts to feel like you're not being yourself. And I feel like with YouTube, you have so much more creative freedom to just like literally make whatever type of content you want to make. And there will always be somebody out there that's looking for the type of stuff that you're doing or you're talking about. The glare is crazy. Why does this low-key look like Lil Yachty? That's crazy. But those were my interesting facts. This is my painting. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned a little bit of unnecessary information about me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.